Alright, so we've finished our using user input project, and so now we're going to create another new project. So in Eclipse, you could go to File, New, and then select Java Project. And the new project, we're going to be learning about math and logic inside of programming. Okay, so you can call it math and logic. Finish that, and then that will create a project over here in addition to what we've already created. So as soon as that goes away, so you can expand that, and we have an src folder in there, so that's what we want to select. And then we're going to make a new class in there. And we're not going to learn much about math and logic today, but we are going to learn another way that we can do user input and output. Okay, so today we're going to do using JOptionPane. So it looks kind of weird. We also want this thing to have a main method, so you're just filling out two things on this new class, using JOptionPane, and then click that you want a main method, and then we can go ahead and finish that. Alright, so let's get started with this right away. We're going to go ahead inside of the main method, and I'm just going to minimize this so we can just focus on the programming here. We're going to go ahead and put in capital J, capital O, option, and then capital P, pane, dot, show message dialog. Alright, and what just happened for me is that when I typed in that I wanted to show message dialog, it automatically imported JOptionPane for me. Okay, if it doesn't do that for you, okay, so if you don't have that import statement, then JOptionPane is going to be underlined. And remember, using Eclipse, that you can just mouse over that and tell it that you want to import JOptionPane, and it puts that line in for you in line 1. That tells it basically where to go find JOptionPane so we can use it. Okay, so this thing gets 2 arguments, all right, and the first argument is going to be null. So that's a reserved word. We'll talk about what that means. But the second one here is going to be what we want the message dialog to say for us. And we're just going to say, you can say whatever you want. I like peanut butter is what I'm going to say. Okay. And once you have that typed in, then you can run yours. And that's what it gives you. Okay, so it gives you like kind of a more professional looking dialogue that you can create. Okay, so you can see that it says message right here, and then it says I like peanut butter. That's what we did right there. Okay, and so we're going to just talk about a couple of these things. Okay. So this creates a pop-up style dialog for us. The owner of the dialog is null. And null is what we use as a placeholder for an object. And you can kind of think of null like it's 0 for numbers, but what null really means is no value. Okay, so 0 has a value. I'd rather owe somebody $0 than owe somebody $50, right? Null means literally no value at all. Okay, so it's different from 0. but you can kind of think about it similarly. Okay. So the second argument there is the message. Okay, so in this case it's I like peanut butter. All right, we're going to take a look at another message dialog here, and I just want to kind of be able to contrast the two for you. So we're going to go JOptionPane again, then show message dialog. And in this case, I'm going to put in some more arguments, and I'm going to do what's called stacking the arguments. So I'm going to put null, and then I'm going to hit return. That gets me out of the parentheses, so I'm going to delete that parenthesis. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of tab this thing over so I can say and I like jelly. Okay, so that's my second message right there, and I'm going to put another comma, and then I'm going to put guess what there, and then I'm going to put something that's also kind of weird for you. Put JOptionPane dot, and then I'm going to put in all caps plain underscore message. And that's the end of my message dialog call. Okay, so let's run this so you can kind of see what is going to happen here. Okay, so there's my first message dialog. Okay, it looks like this. I like peanut butter. That looks familiar to me. Okay, and now here's my next one. All right, so you can see what we've done here is this is still null, and I like jelly is still showing up here. Guess what is showing up here as the title of my dialog. Okay, the last one just said message, so the default is just to say message. And then the fact that I made it a plain message, removed the icon, so I don't have that thing that looks like a piece of paper with a cup of coffee and a pen. It's like a real weird icon. Your icon might look different on your computer when you run it. In fact, I'm pretty sure it does. Okay, so you can decide what you want as far as that goes. All right, and I'll explain more about this in a second. So again, owner is null here. Okay, this is our message. This is our title. And this is where I can set the message type. All right, and I just want to point something out to you. Okay, so let me go back and kind of retype this in, and hopefully it'll do what I want it to do here. So JOptionPane dot. Okay, so when I put that dot, it says you can do all of these different things from JOptionPane. So one of the types of messages that I can put in is an information message, an error message, okay, plain message, question message, warning message, and I think it's just those 5 that we have as options. All right, so you guys can play around with that. You can put in different message types, and you'll get different icons that show up with those. But I just wanted to kind of point out to you that you have those different options. So I'm going to leave mine as a plain message. Okay, and those are the message dialog, the 2 different ways that we'll create message dialogs. Either this way, which is real simple, but it kind of looks ugly, or this way that has 2 extra parts, and to me it looks a little bit cleaner, so I kind of like that. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to figure out how can we get input back from the user using this type of style. So we're going to go ahead and create a string called name, and we're going to go JOptionPane again, dot, and this time we're going to do show input dialog. Then we're going to say please enter your name. All right. So this time we're using an input dialog. And so it's going through the same thing here. Now it's not going to do both of these dialogs at the same time. So I hope you guys understand that as well. As like when I do a message dialog, I have to click OK before it'll go on to the next thing. Okay, so when I click OK, and I like jelly, okay, that's kind of awkward. And then it gets to this input dialog where it says please enter your name, and I have a place where I can put in whatever my name is. Okay, so what you should understand is that if I put in like Raphael, for example, and I click OK, this code right here was that dialog. All right, and after I click OK, after typing in Raphael, this code is replaced with the string Raphael. And so name gets the value Raphael. Hopefully that makes sense to you. All right, so what we're going to do after we get that information is we're going to ask Raphael for his age, okay, or whoever is using this for their age. Okay, the problem here is that input dialogs only return strings. Okay, they only return strings. So what we're going to do is we're going to go string age equals JOptionPane dot show input dialog. Okay, and this time I'm going to make my input dialog again kind of be cleaner like the message dialog that we showed up here. So we're going to go null and then stacking this again. So notice that there's a comma here, and then down here we're going to go hello. So hello, comma, space, plus name. Okay. When I say plus, I should say concatenate. All right. And then another set of strings. Enter your age, comma. I'm just going to put age in there for my title. And then I'm going to go JOptionPane dot show. I'm sorry, not dot show, dot. And let's go ahead and pick one of these appropriate ones here. So let's do question message. Okay. So I'm going to do JOptionPane dot question message. See what that looks like for me. All right. But then that gives me a string. Okay. And what I would really want to do is I really want a number, okay? I want a number out of that. So then we got to do something else that's brand new for you, but you guys will figure it out real quick here. And that is I want to create an int that represents the actual age. And the way that we are able to convert strings to ints is using a thing that's called a wrapper class, okay? So I'm updating the site so that you guys can kind of read about that a little bit. But basically a wrapper class is meant to like wrap around a primitive type to give it some things that we can do with it. Okay, so int is a primitive type. That means it just holds on to a value. We can't do anything with it. Integer is its wrapper class. And what we can do with that is we can parse an int. Okay, and so what that means is figure out what int this string age is. All right, so I'm kind of throwing a lot of stuff at you guys here, but basically this is going to change a string into an int. Okay, so let's just see what this looks like. Okay, I like peanut butter and I like jelly. Okay, please enter your name. So I think we said Raphael. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. Hello, Raphael. Enter your age. So let's say Raphael is 11. Okay, here's what you need to understand here. All right, when I type in 11 and I click OK, this stuff, all of this, becomes the string 11. Okay, so what do I mean by that? It becomes quotes, 11 quotes. All right? So that's not a number, right? It's the character 1 and the character 1 put together in a string. This then takes that quote 11 quote, right, and actually changes it into the number age so that the computer can use it. All right? So that happens after I click OK. So now I have an age variable that I can use. Okay? So how do I want to use it? Well, we've done this sort of thing before, so let's just go ahead and do another message dialog here. Okay, so that's going to be null, and I'm going to say here I'm going to go name, concatenate a string. You have concatenate 16 minus age. Okay, concatenate years to drive. And what I mean there is years until you can drive, but I want it to fit on the screen, so I don't want to do too much. All right. So we'll run this one more time here. I like peanut butter and I like jelly. Okay. This time it's going to be, let's go Barbara. Okay. Hello Barbara, enter your age. Barbara is 13. Okay. Convert that to the number 13. Barbara, you have 3 years to drive, and that comes from 16 minus 13, which is 3 years to drive. Okay? So just to point out something, just to make sure that it's kind of setting in for you here, if I don't do this line, what I have in my line 27, then I would be stuck doing something like 16 minus string age here, and that's going to be a problem because I can't take a number and subtract a string from it. So that's why we needed to do something like in line 27, take that string that we get from the input and change it into a number that I can then use. So turn that back to age, and now it's all good.